This morning, a huge chunk of the internet went offline for quite a few hours. I first realized it when I tried to access social media like Twitter, and I even tried to read a few manga on my favorite anime and manga sites, and I was unable to access them. And I was like, what's going on? I thought it was my internet at the time, and so I went to Google and I typed in, is it down or just me? And then I couldn't even access the site. I checked my phone, apparently I had internet, everything was working. I even reset my router, everything was working a-okay. Come to find out, articles started to appear to where there was a global outage, a worldwide outage of Cloudflare systems that pretty much shut down a huge chunk of the internet. I don't know exactly the percentage, but it was a big chunk. Like, for instance, just some notable names. You had Twitter shut down, Facebook, you had ChatGPT, you had Spotify, and there's probably a bunch of other sites. But the fact that you even had a site called Is It Down or Just Me, down thanks to the outage, is a pretty big deal. And like I said, this isn't talking about even smaller sites. Like, for instance, my favorite anime and manga sites and stuff, I couldn't even access them. So this led me to really figuring out what's going on, and a shocking realization on just how reliant we are on one company that pretty much holds up majority of the internet. Like, there is an image here that I actually want to show here. This one. This image right here is a perfect example of what Cloudflare is to the internet. And when I saw this image, I was like, it's so true. Their service goes down, this one company, and suddenly the internet just like collapses over like a Jenga tower. And I'm just like, that's not good. That's not good to have the entire internet pretty much reliant on one company. And if there's something going on, or let's just say there's some manipulation, or there is some compromised employees at that company, theoretically, they could just shut off the internet any given moment if they wanted, or say it's a technical issue, but in reality it's not. That's pretty concerning in my personal opinion. But let's get into the main reason how this happened, or why this happened, and, why I'm even talking about it to begin with. So basically, Cloudflare global outage hits X, Spotify, ChatGPT, and Facebook, and various other sites. A technical fault in Cloudflare's global network triggered a worldwide outage, disrupting access to services including X, Spotify, OpenAI's, ChatGPT, Facebook, Telegram, League of Legends, and various other crypto exchanges, and once again, a bunch of other different sites, like I said, anime and manga sites. Monitoring firm NetBlocks confirmed the incident resulted from a network fault, not a cyber attack. So this is what they're saying ongoing right now, that it was not a cyber attack that caused this, but a network fault. But even if it is or isn't a cyber attack, the fact that an issue could arise like this to shut down the internet worldwide for the vast majority of the world, like multiple countries worldwide, like you had, for instance, here's the outage map, actually, someone has. You have America hit, and I don't even know if this is fully updated, honestly. This is a very old photo. But, like, you have America hit, you have pretty much Europe hit right here, Japan obviously was hit, you have parts of Australia hit, you have South America hit, you have a lot of countries hit by this outage. It is not just a local region area, it's not necessarily just America, it happened in a lot of big countries around the world. And if one service has an issue like this, even if it's small or not, it could cause this type of, destruction or disruption to services. That is bad. We should not be reliant on one company to this degree. This is the reason why monopolies are not good, because let's say that service is no longer accessible, then you lost your internet. That's pretty much what happens, and that's not good. And I feel like as time goes on, as we kind of step further and further into the digital age, as we become more and more reliant on, let's say, the internet, these type of issues will become more and more apparent and even bigger as time goes on. And as more and more of these companies probably fall off and no longer can make money through housing their services or servers or whatever, and let's say Cloudflare gets stronger and more money, it results in anyone that's trying to come into the market not being able to actually compete. They die off, and then Cloudflare gains more and more strength and more control over the internet on basically what has a server or what does not. And in this way, this is just a bad thing, because eventually there's going to be an issue to where the internet might even be down for days. It might not happen this year, might not happen next year, hell, it might not even happen for the next 5 to 10 years. But there will come a day to where there will be an issue if there isn't measures put in place to stop this from happening. There will come a day to where the internet might be down for days, maybe even weeks, at least on certain sites, massive sites. And I feel like this would give rise to the inherent issue of allowing a company to control most of the internet to this degree. This is pretty bad, but this doesn't even get into the scary reality of this company if it got compromised. And I'm going to talk about that one in just a moment, but Let me just show you how bad this issue got. This issue got so bad, in fact, that you couldn't even order at McDonald's. Like, you know when you go to self-checkout, like a fast food or something? I've seen it. I personally don't do it. I go through the drive-thru or whatever. But I have went into a McDonald's, and I have definitely seen this in different fast food restaurants. If you were to go into a McDonald's, and you were to try to do a self-checkout, you could. This is the error message that would have appeared on the screen that someone showed, which is just insane. The fact that you even have services for fast food just go offline because this shows the rampant issue here of the reliancy on just this one company. I hope this gives a wake-up call to a lot of companies, but in reality, it's not going to. It's just going to get worse with time. But I feel like this is just pretty freaking bad. Like, I couldn't believe exactly, what happened this morning, and honestly, not a lot of people are really talking about this, which is even more shocking because this is pretty big news, because it's like, let me get into how this is bad, okay? Like a hypothetical. This is just a hypothetical. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but it's a hypothetical. So let's say someone at Cloudflare, high up in Cloudflare, is a compromised employee, okay? Let's say they have a vendetta against a certain site. They don't like a certain site, or they don't like a certain person that works on that site, or whatever. Theoretically, if they control this much of the internet, they could shut off access to a certain site if they wanted to. Now, I'm not saying this is legal. I'm not saying it's happening or has happened or whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, though, when a company has this much power to do something like this, they can do something like that. The possibility of that happening is definitely there. And on top of that, meddling by, you know, just like saying, oh, it is a technical fault. Oh, it's an issue. It isn't a cyber attack. For instance, like, let's say there is an issue internally on their network, okay, which is what they said. They could say that, but in reality, maybe there's someone in management that took maybe an entire server offline, maybe for something else. So once again, we're getting into some crazy conspiracies and stuff like that. I'm not saying this is real or whatever. I'm just saying, like, a compromised company or business or whatever that has this much control could do a lot of damage for information spreading or anything like that. They could really do a lot. And I feel like that's bad. Because once again, say whatever you want about Twitter, like for instance X, and how it is as a site. Yes, it's a toxic cesspool. It is a place to get information. It's a way to see what the world is saying. It's a way to get instant information on what's happening right now. And if the entire site goes down and you can't access it, a lot of the info and news that floods in, even if it's inaccurate or not, just completely stops. That's a problem. I think that is fundamentally an issue, and I think this is way beyond anything I could talk about today. I feel like this is one of the most important things I could talk about today, which is why I'm giving it a huge spotlight for my video, because I don't like where we're going in the future. This is going to get worse, because if we continue to be this reliant on just a few companies to this degree, not good, because I know there was an outage a few weeks back, like 4 or 5 weeks ago, with like AWS or whatever. I think it was Amazon services. I don't know. I didn't look too deep into that one because I was busy that entire day, so I actually didn't even know about the outage until people were talking about it. But it doesn't change the fact that it's also very important. What I'm trying to say here is that it's going to get worse, and these issues are ramping up, and it's only a matter of time until maybe the internet might be off for days, weeks, who knows. But I'll leave it at that. Just want to talk about this because I was a little bit peeved. I was trying to read my manga and anime this morning, and I had some issues with that, and then this all happened. I was like, okay, I see. But anyways, I love you guys. Be safe. Leave a like and a comment on the video. Helps with the algorithm. Chibi out.